back here on the Choose954 podcast, episode 55, with Hollywood native, local artist, gallerist, muralist, project manager extraordinaire, Jill Weisberg, here at a beautiful Storefront art studio and gallery in Downtown Hollywood, where you'll be able to come meet Jill this weekend. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. If you didn't know about Choose954, we started a social movement to cultivate culture and community here in Broward County, where we're both from, in an effort to make this a better place to live, not just a better place to vacation. So the point of the podcast is to connect you with amazing people like her that are doing incredible and important things in the community. This podcast is sponsored by the Thousand Mermaids Artificial Reef Project, creating artistically crafted artificial reefs to help save the reefs, create ecotourism, research opportunities, citizen science opportunities, coastline protection, a million other great benefits. To find out more, you can log on to www.1000mermaids.com. That's the number 1000mermaids.com. Without much further ado, why don't you tell us a little about yourself at a high level?
Sure. Hello, out there in internet land. I'm Jill Weisberg, and I am a creative person. So I am the curator and project manager of the Downtown Hollywood Mural Project.
Which you could find out about on the previous podcast.
And I am an artist, and I'm just an overall, I love arts. I love almost all the arts. There's like nothing I'm just always immersed in creativity and arts and things like that. That's basically my life. I have a serious passion.
And shiny, sparkly things.
Absolutely, which is, no pun intended, reflected in my art. That was bad. That was like a dad joke. I'm sorry. But yeah.
So how did you initially get into the arts in the first place?
Well, my mom was a big catalyst in that. She started giving me painting lessons when I was a small child, and I've always been that type of kid that if you gave them some colored pencils and a notepad, I'd be gone, just drawing for hours. Kind of like when you give people video games and you're like, where did so-and-so go? They're in a corner playing. I would just be drawing. And oddly enough, as a smaller child, I was drawing architectural plans. And I actually did go to school for architecture. But I found that I liked design a little bit more, and I switched my major to graphic design. And so I went to school for graphic design, and I worked in the field for a while, and then I went back and got my master's degree in graphic design, and I even taught college. And I've been painting my whole life. I've always had that practice, and I started doing public art probably in around 2008. Started doing murals. I had a mural in Wynwood from 2010 to 2017, and I actually did 2 murals in Wynwood, but that was my longest running mural. And I currently have a piece in the Design District right around the corner from the Louis Vuitton store. Woo!
Which you've seen previously. You might have seen previously.
It's the third iteration of my She Comes First piece, and if you've seen it, it was in Fat Village. It is when it was in Fat Village, it was about 40 feet long. Type piece, alt text, and it's made out of pink sequins. So when the wind blows, it's really beautiful. You don't really, you might see the type first. Obviously it says She Comes First, but you see how the waves of the wind kind of undulate the sequins, and it just sparkles so beautifully. And that's why I use a lot of sparkly materials, because I want people to be dazzled by them, and maybe secondarily kind of come in and see the text and then start thinking about the text. Same thing with the pieces that you see behind me. It's always kind of like getting you in with the dazzle and then kind of making you think about the artwork, because all of my artwork is generally concept-based. So there's something to think about with regards to all of that.
Who doesn't like shiny, sparkly objects?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't.
Who wants to live in a world void of shiny, sparkly objects?
I really couldn't answer that question. I don't know. It would be sad, right?
Well, if you do like shiny, sparkly objects, you're going to really like it here. So tell us where we're sitting right now.
Okay, we're sitting in the gallery component in the front of Storefront Art Studio, which is my gallery and studio, but I have a partner, Brian Geffen. So it's ours together, and behind this wall is our studio where we make art, and the front part just kind of showcases our art, and we also have shows of other people, national and locals. And right now the show that's up is called Ideal Situation, and you can see the pieces behind me. They are made or inspired by vintage magazine advertisements. This is really all about the commodification of femininity. So I want people to think about that. And if you look behind me at these two, this one specifically, this particular piece, most of the pigment that you see is eyeshadow or face makeup. So I deal a lot with materials that women use a lot, or people now, because I love it. Men are using makeup now, which is so cool to me. Why not? Why not? I love makeup. That's the other thing. I'm semi-obsessed with makeup and YouTube tutorials, which influences my practice as well, because I just love the way that you can kind of change yourself and change the way you look with makeup, and it gives you confidence and it makes you feel good. But that's kind of what I'm talking about. So people take that kind of like sales aspect of how makeup makes you feel good, and then they commodify the femininity. They commodify, and sell directly to women. And they've been doing it for a long, long time. And the vintage advertisements are so cool. They're so cool. And a lot of the vintage advertisements I use, it's not just about makeup. Like, we have somebody behind Evan's head that is coveting a blanket, and you can see how she's just looking at this blanket like it's everything. And so I made her into kind of, I'm not going to say religious, but it kind of has that religious old-timey painting feel where she's kind of in the middle, like shrined in there. And it's just about thinking about the advertising and how women are advertised to, and how we're taught at a young age to want certain things and all of that stuff. So it's just, and I'm not saying whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I want the viewer to kind of determine how they feel about it. I'm just offering up visuals for people to have certain feelings about. I myself have my own ideas, but everything that anybody thinks about my pieces is fine.
Well, this is your creative outlet.
That's correct.
This is your practice, and you are well versed and knowledgeable on the subjects at hand.
Yes.
And it is super interesting. You probably would be hard pressed to find local artists with as much shiny, sparkly objects included in their work. But it is a very good representation of your thoughts and beliefs, and from conversations you have, I know it's very accurate to who Mr. Joe Weisberg is. Why is it important for you to have your own studio and gallery space?
Sure, that's a really valid question. So, although Downtown Hollywood is pretty robust with regards to the arts in Broward County, there's just not a lot. I mean, we could have put our studios down in Miami, but we wanted to kind of give Broward a chance and like have this type of exposure up here. It's wonderful to have a studio space, because when you have a studio space, you can set up something, work on something, and when you're tired or you need to go, you just go and everything's set up for you still. When you're working at home, like typically if I was working on a larger piece, it would be the dining room. When you have to get ready for dinner, you have to move it all, clean it all up. So it's wonderful. And also I couldn't work on, there's some really big pieces that I've been working on, and I don't have the room longer. And so I haven't had my own studio since I was in grad school, and when Brian suggested that we get a studio together, I was like super, super psyched. So this is kind of what he does right now. He's doing larger pieces, but this piece here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
He's working with a lot of stickers, and he's kind of talking about just commodification in general, and how the visual language of stickers and emojis and social media, it's like all of this new visual language that the younger generation is using, and they don't like to talk on the phone, they really talk in pictures. And I find that fascinating, and so does he. So he's kind of been converting that into his own concept of visual communication and a visual language with regards to the symbols, but he's using stickers and paint, and he has a video, and like he's a very creative individual who has a lot of things going on as well.
It resonates with me, it resonates with our generations and demographics. It's iconic symbolism and logos and characters that pretty much anybody would be familiar with. And it's Brian's creative outlet and reflection of his thoughts and beliefs. And it is cool to see your guys' space, to see you guys create, to see the shows that you curate. You brought in some phenomenal artists as well, and we're really, really glad to see artist studio spaces flourishing here and the art scene flourishing here in downtown Hollywood. We're really glad to have our second Zero Empty Spaces location here right next door to Storefront Art Studio in downtown Hollywood. So it's an opportunity for a potential collector or even somebody that just wants to get involved with the arts, that they can come in and not just see finished pieces on the wall, but you can meet the artists, find out more about their craft, find out more about their passion, their creative outlet, their profession, talk to them. Why did you make these pieces? You know, it's one thing just to see it, but it's another thing to hear the story behind it, and we present a very good opportunity for you to do so this Saturday, every third Saturday night of the month at 7 p.m. for free. I lead a Choose954 guided tour of the Downtown Hollywood Art Walk, where I take you and a group of people into the studios and into the galleries to meet Jill and Brian and the resident artists of Zero Empty Spaces and El Mercado and AR Workshop, and find out the backstories behind it. And if you've never bought a piece from an artist that you've met and had that conversation with, it gives you a lot more connection. And then when you have this piece in your home and you're telling a family member or a friend or somebody that's coming over about the work that you're proud to hang in your home, it gives a little bit more meaning to it. So we encourage you to join us for free every third Saturday night of the month at 7 p.m. for the gallery tour of the Downtown Hollywood Art Walk, and at 6 p.m. Jill leads a wonderful tour of the Downtown Hollywood Mural Project, which encompasses 27 murals throughout downtown Hollywood here, public art in its highest form for free. Both tours are free. They start at the information tent at the corner. It's a new location for the information tent on Harrison and 20th. You can find out more at floridashollywood.org. You can find out more at Choose954. And you can feel free to reach out to us. We'll get you Jill's social media in a little bit here. But you're very well versed in the arts. You've spent a lot of time in Miami, and you've traveled quite a bit. Asheville, Williamsburg, so on and so forth.
Chicago, I love art tourism.
Amen. And that's what we actually both, and a lot of people do, is travel to see local arts. Arts make communities great, and that's another conversation for another day. But what are your thoughts on the current state of the arts in Broward County in 2019 going into 2020?
Well, I'm really, really proud to be involved with Downtown Hollywood. I think Downtown Hollywood has really come a long way, and it's an arts hub now. Like, we've got our culture center, we got Arts Park with Jen Clay's studio, we have the Mural Project, we have Zero Empty Spaces, we have plenty of galleries, we have Storefront Art Studio, we have like so much going on here. And there are pockets of other parts of Broward County that do have some art stuff going on as well. But I would love to see more and more and more arts engagement going on in Broward County. And it's great that Zero Empty Spaces is here because I think that's helping a lot. But I really do honestly believe that developers and redevelopers in Broward County should pay a percentage when they're developing and redeveloping for the arts. It's not an unheard of thing. Coral Springs is doing it. Hey, Coral Springs. Miami does it. It's not like a mind-blowingly unusual thing. And since we have so much development in here, it's only going to help. When people go to resell, they make money because a lot of times there's arts. I mean,
that built the area up.
Yeah, that built the area up, and they have the public art on their building, and they can resell it for more money. Or they have the public art within or around their building, and it's wonderful, and it presents engagement to the public, and I'm just a huge proponent of public art. So more public art in Broward County, more high quality public art in Broward County.
And so I'm really glad that you mentioned that. And this is actually something that really is a current topic. I was actually just talking with Commissioner Glassman about this. In 22 cities across the state of Florida, and over 600 cities and municipalities across the country, there's something called a Public Art Development Fund. And what that does is, who's going to pay for public art, right? Somebody has to pay for it. And you can't just always put it on the city or the county. The county does have a public art program, but the public art that the county does only goes on county land.
Such as?
The airport and the port.
Right. And how often does the public get to go to the airport or the port?
Or how often does the tax-paying public that live there.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Tourists and public go through there, but it doesn't serve as much of a benefit to us as tax-paying
That's right.
residents as much as it does to the tourists. And I get it; it makes a good first impression, and I'm not knocking the public art in the port and in the airport.
No, they've done a wonderful job.
Ernesto Morante's mural in the Port Everglades,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
And even inside of the terminals, like if you the next time you go into the airport, if you go into the airport, if you go to the, there's tons of great public art. I just wish that there was more scattered throughout Broward County, not just in libraries and things like that. And I think that developers and redevelopers have a responsibility. It
Correct.
should not be on the taxpaying public.
Correct.
It should be on the developers who are making all of this money
Correct.
on development and redevelopment.
And couldn't have said it better. So a developer is somebody that takes land and builds a building, and frankly, they're very quick to take, but how often do they give back? So this public art development fund, this mechanism, a 1% tax on new development, goes to improving the landscape around the building in the area that they're developing by adding signature public art. And let's just be honest here. I'm not going to name names of developers, but they're doing a project and they're going to make $10 million, $50 million, $100 million. What's 1% of 100? Would it really hurt them if they only profited $99 million and they didn't profit $100 million? But that 1%, that $1 million, and adding that public art, we've seen time and time again, can literally help improve property values, increase civic pride, increase the landscaping and the cultural landscape for a city and community. Miami, from just last year alone, and Miami has a big development move going on, raised over $7.1 million in their public art development fund, and they're putting it to use, they're putting it to work. It's generating great press, social media impressions, marketing impressions, tons of engagement, user-generated content, the list goes on and on. Coral Springs does have one. In the city of Fort Lauderdale, it's currently held up with the city attorney. The city commission's behind it. The residents are behind it. I understand the developers don't want to have to give any more than they would need to, but we really encourage you, talk to your city commissioner, talk to anybody that you know in government. It really wouldn't hurt, to just put a mechanism in place for these people to give back from the areas that they're so quick to take from.
Yeah, and one of the things that everyone knows now is how arts come into an area, right? And then whoever has the properties sell the properties for way more than they bought them for, because now there's art on the building. We all know this story. So it's not
Win-win effect.
It's not just a win-win effect. This has been going on for years and years and years. If anything, it's like Goldman up in the meatpacking district. Like, as long as this isn't a new thing. Again, this is not a new thing. But what happens that the developers may or may not realize is that if you do put that art, it adds value to the building, and these people, right after they develop, usually sell it anyways. So it's one of these things where they're going to make their money back.
Right.
So it's a win-win for everyone.
Right. It's just a process that needs to be put in place.
And it also gives a lot of artist jobs, which is wonderful too. I'm a big proponent of that. Artists need jobs.
It helps fuel the creative economy. It allows artists to buy more supplies from the supply stores, and it's part of the bigger picture. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because it's kind of something that's a murmur if you're in the conversations. It's been something that the Fort Lauderdale City Commission has been advocating for, that the city attorney is holding up, and we know why the city attorney is holding it up.
It's a difficult conversation to have, because you do want people to come and develop and redevelop in your city. You do want that. You don't want developers to just kind of leave you out of everything. But at the same time, like I said, it's a win-win for everyone. And just talk to your elected officials, and maybe we can make it happen.
What are some other ways that regular people can support the arts?
Oh, well, if you like the arts, I'm not saying everyone needs to like the arts, but if you do like the arts and you want to support, always purchasing items from local artists is super helpful. Commissions are super helpful. Coming up and telling somebody that you really like their artwork, maybe you can't afford stuff. But let me tell you something. You'd be surprised. There's stuff from all price ranges that, especially with zero empty spaces, and even in our gallery, we have all different price ranges. So it's not like you have to be a rich collector to come in and purchase your own artwork. I'm also a collector, so I do collect pieces of artwork, and believe me, because I'm a working artist, you know, I don't have a yacht or anything, but I do buy art, and I don't go crazy, but I do. Brian and I actually have a pretty great art collection at home.
Everybody has blank space on their walls that they need to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of going to IKEA and buying like a framed print, you know, check out Zero Empty Spaces, check out Storefront, check out any of the galleries and walk around. Go to El Mercado Studios, they have beautiful ceramics there. I mean, there's just so much local art and artists need support. We're not making the stuff for our health. I am actually, it's a great stress release, I enjoy it. But you know, we want to sell our art, we want to see our pieces go into happy homes and stuff like that. But support your artists, follow them on Instagram, interact with them on Instagram, share. Like, you know, one of the best things is that my piece that's in the design district right now, there is just so much posting about it. It's wonderful to see all of the interactivity. That makes me so happy. So just keep that in mind and don't be shy, you know, with artists. Artists want to talk to you. Most artists want to engage with you and find out more about what you think about their art and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to chat with us. We are here for you.
And that's one thing that we're really excited to continue doing with tours, is the way to interact with the artists. Speaking of the mural in the design district currently at the moment, Jill's mural, which was previously in Fat Village, you might have seen, it is available for sale and purchase, and it could be installed at your home, at your property, at your business as well. So if they wanted to find out more about the mural or speak with you, where can they find you on social media or the interwebs?
So just like if you want to go on the interwebs, it's just Jill C. That's my middle initial. So JillCWeisberg.com, and then on Instagram I'm Jill W. Like because my last name is Weisberg, so it's Jill_DUBBLEYOU. Cute, right? Mm-hmm. Jill W. But if you search on Instagram for Jill Weisberg, you'll find it. Storefront Art Studio is just at Storefront Art Studio or storefrontartstudio.com. And my lovely partner Brian Geffen is briangeffen.com, and it's just one F. And all of the work here is for sale. And quite often we aren't here during the day because we have day jobs. Sometimes we are. But our studio is really open and you can see everything. If there's any interest, if anybody wants to make an appointment to come in and see the work or anything like that, we are here for you.
Amen. Mm-hmm. And if you want to meet Jill and Brian and come to Storefront Art Studio, like I said, you can join us this Saturday, every third Saturday night of the month for free for the guided Choose954 guided tour of the Downtown Hollywood Art Walk at 7 p.m. The Mural Project tour, Jill leads at 6 p.m. So if you want to find more arts in Broward County on the largest annual signature art event that we have in Broward County, you can join us for Art Fort Lauderdale, the Art Fair on the Water, 4th annual edition, January 23rd through 26th. Tickets and more information can be found at artftlauderdale.com. That takes place during Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, which is a week-long series of satellite events, artist talks, after parties, brunches, dinners, artist studio tours. You can find out more at www.ftladw.com. These are just two initiatives to connect you guys with the artists, like Jill, like the resident Zero Empty Spaces artists. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at evansnow13, at Choose954, at Art Fort Lauderdale, at Zero Empty Spaces. I'm an open book, and I'd love to hear why you guys choose 954, and why do you choose 954?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of a hometown girl. This is where I was born and raised, and I've been to a lot of other places. And the culture here, the beaches here are beautiful, especially specifically in Hollywood. Hollywood Beach is like my favorite beach in the world. And I just love the accessibility to all the things that we have here. So much stuff's going on, so many cultural events. I don't know, food, everything. And it's you know, I do enjoy going down to Miami, but I find that it's way more chill up here.
Amen.
Yeah, so and it's a great place for artists too, because it's a little bit more reasonable.
Amen. It's
so
more inclusive.
Yeah, and we're not far from Miami. We're not far from West Palm. So I really think Broward is kind of like the perfect bridge for everything. It's a wonderful place to live and work and all that good stuff. Have fun, play. Yeah.
Amen. From one of the most knowledgeable, resourceful, accomplished, qualified artists, curators, project managers that we're super fortunate to have in Broward County. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Everything you've done for the city of Hollywood. If you haven't checked out the Downtown Hollywood Mural Project, you can find us there in tour on Saturday. You can find out more on the previous podcast we did on the Hollywood Showcase series. We look forward to seeing you here in beautiful downtown Hollywood. Happy holidays. Cheers.
Bye.